Within a purely first-person spiritual practice where essentially what I'm realizing is my own divine subjectivity, where I'm really realizing I'm one with all, I'm not separate from this whole event, there's kind of, I don't know how to put it, there's nothing bigger than you in that context.
Yeah.
You're the biggest thing there is, and while in its kind of pure form, like in what we might call a pure realization, perfectly embodied, that would do away with ego, because obviously there's no small you either. There's just the infinite that should theoretically consume your ego or take you beyond it. I think in practice, in most cases, what tends to happen is the ego doesn't get challenged so much by that realization. It might get put in perspective, ideally, but I think often for people it even ends up inflating the ego to a certain degree and puts the person at ease in a certain way where probably most of us could use a certain amount of second-person divine where there's a sense of someone, and I kind of mean it metaphorically, but someone bigger than me that I'm humble before, that I have to answer to, in a sense, that starts to maybe keep me on my knees in some kind of humility before and awe before the greatness of that I think has maybe more potential for kind of ego reduction and ego containment and driving a kind of effort towards self-purification that might not even seem necessary within a purely first-person path, but obviously it really is.
It also opens the door for us to be related to one another and to teachers or coaches in a whole different way, in which we are together in relation to this mystery that demands something of all of us. And we can presume a kind of access. The core of that relationship to otherness is one in which we, I like to notice the correspondences with the old mythic forms, but kind of resurrect them in a new transrational way. So there's a kind of a new, higher understanding of repentance, a recognition that this separation, this egoity, this contraction is something that is happening at a very profound level, probably on that causal level. Maybe I don't even know, it's like a muscle that's hard to find, but I'm doing it. My separation is not something done to me. I'm not a victim of my experience of separation. On a very deep level that's hard to access, I'm doing it. I'm creating it. And I wish I wasn't. And how could I not? And what is it I can do now that can open me into a more authentic, real, conscious, alive, present condition? How can I wake up now and be true now? How can I do that? That yearning, that's repentance.
Mm-hmm.
And in repentance, something opens up, and we can rediscover contact, communion, grace. That's what salvation is, in the old language. And that connectedness, and the enacting of that connectedness, is at the core of the intimate interior experience. But what does that open in terms of our way of relating to one another as fellow practitioners?
Right.